In this next section of the course, we're going to talk about purchasing a car in Portugal. Now, prices for new and used cars are getting much more expensive in the United States, and that's true in Portugal as well. Having said that, even before these high rates of inflation began to set in, buying a car in Portugal was very expensive. So now it's even more so. When you do purchase your car in Portugal, you're going to have to make a lot of the same decisions that you would back home. You're going to have to decide whether or not you want to purchase a new car. And of course, if you do purchase a new car, you're going to be paying more, and you're going to have to deal with the effect of depreciation as soon as you drive that car off the lot. And if you do purchase a used car, you are always running a risk that there might be a problem with it. So those same issues exist here in Portugal, of course. So what I want to do in this section of the course is really raise your awareness to what your options are here and a little bit about what the process for purchasing a car is like. If you do decide to purchase a used car, there are some great websites that can really help you in your search. Car Sentry and Stand Virtual both come recommended. I've used Stand Virtual to search for used cars, and I found them really helpful. The filters allow you to choose where you want to go for the car in terms of its location, the make, the model, the price. All of that's available to really help you with your search. Another thing that you can do is go to a dealer and you can check to see what they have in terms of pre-owned stock, and that may save you thousands off of the purchase of a new car. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what my car buying experience was like. So I chose to purchase a new car in Portugal. Now, the process of purchasing a car here in Portugal is a lot different than what it is back home in the States. You can walk into a dealership back in the States with essentially no money in your pocket. And you could be driving away in a new car in 30 minutes, 60 minutes. All the credit, the financing, everything's done, and you're out the door with some temporary plates. That's not the case in Portugal. The process takes a little bit longer. It took about 5 days from the time I purchased my car for me to actually get the car. So it starts when you go to the dealership. Of course, you select the car that you want. Now you need to pay an initial down payment or deposit to hold the car. It's usually about 500 or 1,000 euros. And this is just a form of earnest money that you're going to come back and purchase the car. The reason it takes a little while is because the cars don't have plates on them. Just like at home, you have to wait to get your license plate. However, they're unable to give you a temporary plate to drive out of the dealership. So what you do is, after you make that deposit, you get some paperwork from the dealership. You need to take that to your bank or to your insurance agent. Then they're going to write a policy for your car. You need to then send that policy to the dealer or take it back to the dealer. Then the dealer can begin the process of getting you the plate that you need to be able to drive the car home. You then need to pay the balance of your car. I was paying cash, so I made a bank transfer to the dealership. And then you just wait a few days, and they'll call you up and say, the plate's here, your car's ready to go. You just go in, you get the car, and you drive away. It's also important to note that you're likely not to get a full tank of gas. So my fuel light was blinking when I drove out of the dealership. So as soon as you get that car, you're going to want to get to a gas station. I want to talk a little bit about car insurance and my experience with insuring my car. As I mentioned, you of course need to have insurance before you get your car from the dealer. I chose to get my initial policy through my bank. I got the most expensive policy. It cost me 60 euros per month. At the time, coming from the United States of America, I thought this was quite a good deal for car insurance. I had zero deductible, and I also had a lot of perks. For example, if my car ever went into the shop, I was given a courtesy car until it was ready. Having said that, car insurance in Portugal is quite inexpensive, and there are cheaper options out there. And I'm going to link some of your options in terms of insurance company in the files section of the course. I chose to go with Fidelidade. I went with an agent named Jed Haney. He actually speaks English, and he's from Scotland, and he was terrific, gave me lots of options, and he was able to cut my premium in half. I was able to get what I thought was reasonable coverage and good for me for my situation, and it only cost me 30 euros a month. So I thought that was a really great cost savings. Another note about some of the perks like courtesy cars, for me, I didn't think it was worth it because unless your car is in the shop for a really long time, it takes a little while to actually get the courtesy car. So by the time I would get the car, my car's ready to get out of the shop. So to me, I just didn't think it was worth it. I opted to go with the cost savings over the more expensive policy. Now, I mentioned that I paid cash for my car. Some people may wish to purchase a new car, but they may wish to finance the car. I just want to raise your awareness to the differences between financing a car here in Europe and back at home. Of course, interest rates are very low at the time I'm recording this video. At the time I purchased my car, ECB rates were negative. So I thought, wow, I'll be able to finance a car for 1.5%, maybe 2% at the most. And a lot of dealers will offer incentives. They'll offer you a lower base price. They'll offer you more options that are free. However, the cost of your capital might not be what you expect. I was quoted a rate of 7.5% for financing for purchasing a new car. Definitely be aware of this. That's the purpose of me telling you this. I just want to raise your awareness to this situation. So if you go into a dealer and even if you're prepared to pay cash and they say, hey, we can offer you this price and we're going to give you this bonus and this feature, just ask the right questions. Find out what the interest rate is. Find out if there's a prepayment penalty. Find out if there are any upfront costs, like an initiation fee for the financing. So just be aware that the financing costs may be higher than what you're expecting. Having a car in Portugal is fantastic. It's a really small country and having a car really opens up the entire country to you. I live on the East Coast. I live 100 meters from the Atlantic Ocean. I can drive from my home into Spain in 2 hours. So you can literally drive across the country in 2 hours. That's amazing. You can drive from Porto in the north to Sagres down in the southwest in less than 6 hours. So it's a really small country. There are so many domestic travel options that are open to you when you have a car. Public transportation in Portugal is great. That's another option, but you do have tremendous freedom when you have a car. Having said that, having a car in Portugal is expensive. Fuel in Portugal is very expensive. Gasoline is about not $1.75, €1.75 per liter. So that's not per gallon, that's per liter. So that's over $7 per gallon for gasoline. So if you think gas is expensive where you are back home, it's more expensive here. Gas in Europe is expensive, but gas in Portugal in particular is quite expensive. Even compared to Spain, it's quite expensive. The other thing is tolls. The tolls on the road in Portugal are very expensive. I live less than an hour from the Lisbon airport, about 50 minutes or so from the Lisbon airport. Driving there and back is about 10 euros in tolls. If I want to go to the beaches around Cascais, which is around an hour and 20 minutes from my home, it's almost double that. It's almost 20 euros to Cascais and back to my house. So it's very expensive paying those tolls. The other thing to remember that in addition to being expensive, driving in Portugal is really not for the faint of heart. I'm from New York, so I'm used to people driving a bit more aggressively. If you're from a small town and you're used to country living, you may be a little bit surprised when you first get to Portugal. So just keep that in mind that driving in Portugal is an experience and drivers can be quite aggressive.